Thank you, Leah, and thank you everyone for attending. You are very welcome. Unashamedly, this is a really important issue to me, and so I may come across as a bit of a salesman at times, but that's deliberate. I'm trying to convince you as employers and individuals in England and elsewhere that apprenticeships are really important, and if they're not something that you've thought about previously, they're at least something that you should give some headspace to. So I am going to have this moment of panic that everyone has on one of these. I'm going to try and share my screen and I'm going to go through some slides. I didn't do that right, did I? Can we see that?
Yes.
So if I just have it. Excellent. So as I say, I've seen the slides that the other presenters are going to give, and they're great presentations with lots of information. So I'm not going to take too much time. I'm certainly not going to labor my points. I'm going to try and get to them as quickly as I can. We have been working on an apprenticeship standard for the industry for some time. COVID has been against us, but as you'll see here on this screen, on the 12th of November, the apprenticeship standard went live. And so when we arranged this webinar, it was going to be a general conversation with you about how wonderful apprenticeships are. However, today instead, it's going to be a bit more specific, and we hope to give you some insight into what's actually included in this industry standard. It's the LEA apprenticeship, as I call it, and it's this lifting equipment technician. And we're going to be hearing from Kat, who was the chair of the Trailblazer, for a little more detail about that. So after Kat's talked to us about what's in the standard, we're going to be hearing from Simon Arnold, who is a partner that we've been working with extremely closely over at Bristol College. So a large training provider who will give some more insight into what it actually feels like to get involved in apprenticeships. Then we're going to be hearing from colleagues at Sunbelt Rentals about their real experience of working with apprenticeships and apprentices. And we're going to be hearing from Lewis Behi, who recently won our Apprenticeship of the Year award at the LEA Awards. And then we're going to be hearing from William Hackett, who are also committed users of apprenticeships. So it's not just an academic pursuit where it's me sitting in a room who doesn't understand what it feels like to be engaging with apprenticeships. Hopefully this is going to be an hour where you really come away with an understanding as well as knowledge. Why am I so passionate about this? Let's be really clear. This is the standard that we're introducing today is an industry created pathway. This was not created by government. This was not created by Whitehall. It was not created by colleges who are trying to sell what they've always been selling. This was industry coming together and figuring out on a big bit of paper or a whiteboard, what do they actually want their next generation of or their apprentices to look like? And so three main component parts. They are the softer skills, the employability skills, teamwork, values, etc., etc. Broader engineering skills so that you're having a well-rounded individual, but importantly, specific skills. So what is it that's going to make this person almost oven ready so that when they come to you, they are at zero perhaps, but by the end of the apprenticeship, they reach the hero level. This pathway in England will be largely funded by government. In GB, skills is a devolved policy area, so we're talking about England only. And we've got other things that we're going to be doing with partners across the world, but we're really keen that this will be a global approach. However, in England, the funding is here, and the funding is at about £12,000. Well, it's £12,000. Now, in most cases, as an employer, you'll pay 5% of that. So that means £600. I'm hoping that after today, you'll think that this actually gets into no-brainer territory. For all that's on offer, £600 seems really reasonable. My argument is that there's more to gain than to lose. Whenever I speak to employers, there's always a concern, and I recognize that when you train your staff, they might leave, or they might want more money. There might be problems that are associated with upskilling. My genuine belief, however, is that there may be an issue about employees leaving you when they are trained, but there is much more of an issue about your employees staying with you if they are not trained. And I know Simon's going to be showing some data that hopefully puts to bed some concerns around the link between skilling and leaving. My point is that this is available right now. As you saw, it was signed off early November. So some training providers might be ready to go right now, but other training providers might need some time to get ready. And certainly that's the case with Bristol, with whom we are working to make sure that delivery is optimal. My call to action is, please, if you haven't thought about apprenticeship route before, have a think about it now. There is an option that's absolutely distinct and new for our industry. So you're not having to look at something that nearly fits. There is something that industry has put together, and therefore industry sees it as a great fit. There is lots of information on this website here in the UK around the practicalities, the values, etc., etc. My call to action would be, training providers, you can work with training providers, build a relationship with them, tell them what will work for you, what you don't want. There is a flexibility that perhaps from the outside, you think, oh, I have to buy this thing or I don't buy it. No, there is flexibility, and the right training provider will work with you. And finally, what we have now is a template. We've worked here in England to get a template, and as the association that has a global membership, we'll definitely be working with partners across the world, and already are in Australia and New Zealand, to try and have some sort of uniformity to what we deliver to our apprentices across the world. So that is me. I am going to stop my screen share and invite Kat Moss to share her screens and to give us some detail on what's actually in the apprenticeship. And Liam, I see your question, and that will be answered in Kat's presentation. Thank you again. Kat.
Morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm a bit screen shy when it comes to sharing presentations and things like that, so I'm just going to stop my video so you can't see me reading my notes. So hopefully you can all see that. As Ross has just said, I led the Trailblazer group in creating this standard, along with a group of like-minded employers. Government policy in England is that they are keen to move away from training providers shaping what they teach. There were stories of some providers teaching skills and courses because they had teachers who could deliver the courses, not because the industry actually wanted them. And so there was a move towards setting up groups of employers who literally got around a table and identified the skills that we needed and wanted to see. It has been a long-standing issue for our industry that readily available off-the-shelf apprenticeships were not fit for purpose when it comes to lifting equipment. You could do an engineering apprenticeship and maybe use 30% of everything you learn and then go on to top it up with LEA courses for specific training. This means it was unworkable for most employers and learners. In 2018, LEA helped start the process by putting out a call to action to get employers in a room and see what the appetite was for an industry-specific standard, and so the Trailblazer Group was formed. We worked within the parameters and created the lifting equipment technician standard. It was a hard slog deciding what was in it and what was out in terms of the knowledge, skills, and behaviours, which is the underpinning of any apprenticeship standard. Over several days of discussions and multiple emails, we managed to get these tailored to what we would hope to see in a lifting equipment technician. Just for context, this standard has 26 different knowledge requirements, 27 skills, and 10 behaviours. I can't tell you how tricky it is to decide where these all fit in. The Trailblazer Group had to decide what we thought a lifting equipment technician was expected to know in a broad sense, such as how to inspect lifting equipment, and overall knowledge of health and safety, how to repair lifting equipment, IT skills to research and record results, how to make sling assemblies and how to verify lifting equipment. They should know how to raise a LOLA report and have an understanding of commercial implications, how to install and maintain lifting equipment, and also have relevant engineering knowledge and customer services skills. The standard has now been signed off by the Parliamentary Under Secretary for State for Skills, which is why it can attract government funding in England. I would like to tell you a little bit more about it. It is a level 3 apprenticeship, so this is equivalent to an A level. We could have gone lower, we could have gone higher, but this is where our research took us. This is a good work-ready level. It's 24 months in total. This may sound like a lot, but when you see what's in it, you'll understand why, and perhaps Simon will explain a little bit more about what this means. It has been valued at a funding band of £12,000. This is the maximum amount of funding the providers can spend on each student, including assessment fees, external fees, and resources. The standard covers broad employability skills such as teamwork, values, health and safety, and commercial understanding. We see the scope of the apprenticeship covering hands-on inspection as well as being an option for sales roles and design roles. It covers basic engineering, which is important because of the range of supply chains in which we work, but it delivers specific lifting engineering and inspection skills, covering general lifting accessories and manual lifting machines. This means that there's a further CPD option for students to continue on in their job training after they complete the apprenticeship to cover more specific areas that relate to their employer's scope of works. And this may be of interest to many members. If the provider chooses to engage with LEA, this may well be a way in which members can access LEA training, but through the apprenticeship. After we worked out what should be in the apprenticeship, we had to decide how to assess it. The assessment of the apprenticeship is split into 3 methods. There is a practical assessment with questions. There is a professional discussion, which is underpinned by a portfolio of evidence. This is not as scary as it sounds, it's just basically a show and tell. And finally, there's a multiple choice test. We decided on these 3 methods as the best and most broad way to show an assessor that the learning has been achieved. This means that the evidence is gathered over the 2-year period, along with questioning that can prompt the learner to answer questions on how they do their work, rather than a cramming and exam style assessment. We recognise that students need different ways to show their learning, and different ways suit some better than others. Originally, LEA had intentions to be the endpoint assessment organisation, but during the time it took the apprenticeship to be approved, the rules changed, which made this too burdensome to achieve. So, as with training, LEA is working with interested parties to make assessment as impactful as it can be. We don't want assessors who turn up in month 24, we want assessors who support the student and support the learning. So in conclusion, that is why and how we created this apprenticeship standard for our industry, and a brief overview of what's in it. I hope you found this informative, and I look forward to seeing the first cohort of apprentices.
Perfect. Thank you, Kat. So I've been having a look at the chat and seeing there's a few technical issues. So let me just remind you that this is being recorded, and it will be on the LEA website by the end of the week. So you'll be able to review it as well. Any questions that are in the chat, I will take and I'll address later. But Kat's presentation illustrates what a Herculean effort this has been to actually put it together. And this is not the end of the issue. This is not us saying we've done it and we've walked away. And this is the beginning of the wedge. And so comments, is it in Wales yet? No, it isn't. Is it in Scotland yet? No, it isn't. But we'll be working on that. Now we have a thing. It's going to be easier for us to say to other government funders, what's the deal? And we'll certainly be working with our employers to make that case. So thank you, Kat. We're going to move to Simon Arnold now, who's partner at Bristol College. He will be sharing his screen, and I will mute myself, and the floor is yours, Simon. But you're muted at the moment.
Yes, that's a common mistake. I do apologise, but thank you everyone for the opportunity to present this morning. My name is Simon Arnold, and I'm the Director of Business and Commercial Partnerships here at the City of Bristol College. And my slides won't now move. There we go. So partnership, we've been working in partnership with LEA. It's been brilliant bringing the engineering expertise of the college alongside the knowledge and industry expertise of LEA to support with getting the apprenticeship approved through the Institute for Apprenticeships. The next stage really now is to bring you employers into the partnership so that we can design a really exciting apprenticeship which delivers the knowledge, skills and behaviours that you want your staff, who are the apprentices, to have. And for us to make this as successful as it possibly can be, we won't be dictating what it is we deliver, how we deliver it. We will be working with you guys as employers and your staff to make sure that we come up with a delivery method that works. Why employ an apprentice? There's some statistics there, which I won't read out, they're there on the screen. I think what I want to say, there's two very distinct reasons why you might want to employ an apprentice. One might be to bring in new skills, new people. So it's an opportunity to bring new staff into your business. But the other one might be to upskill existing staff. And clearly there is an opportunity to help retain your stars of the future by investing in their training. And throughout, wherever apprentices are very much seen to engage loyalty with an employer and help improve retention. The cost of apprenticeship training, we have covered this a little bit. The absolute maximum is £600, but if you're a levy paying employer with a wage bill of over £3 million, it will cost you nothing. If you employ less than 50 people and your apprentice is under the age of 19, again, it costs you nothing. And if you do know a large employer who's a levy paying employer, you can actually buddy up with them and they can use their levy to support you as part of their supply chain, which is becoming more and more common. The most you will pay is £600, but that might be reduced because there's technicalities around sign up, and if someone has existing skills, we will reduce the cost of the apprenticeship to recognise that existing knowledge they're coming in with. On a positive, there is currently a government incentive for you to take on an apprentice, which sits at £3,000 with an additional £1,000 for someone who's under 19. That was extended in the budget and stops on the 31st of January. The general thought within the sector is that there might be a small gap, but there will be an incentive reintroduced by the government. The government is very committed to apprenticeships and they want to continue. So at the moment, again, there's a financial benefit to employing apprentices. So we fully understand that what you want when it comes to employing an apprentice is the best person for your business. So part of the onboarding, we onboard hundreds of apprenticeships each. If you want, we can advertise the jobs for you. We use Indeed, we use social media. Every apprenticeship can be advertised in local papers. We can take on board the CVs, do CV matching, and send you the candidates. We can do initial interviews, and sometimes with some employers, we even hold assessment centres for the day where we get candidates in and run maybe a test or a practical knowledge element to support that onboarding. So very much a turnkey operation if that's what you wish. Delivery, this is very much in the development. There is knowledge in the which we need to embed. So there will be some classroom-based training, and that might be at the Advanced Engineering Centre in Bristol. You can see the picture on the left of that fantastic new facility, which really does have some top-class equipment in. Or we might be doing training at the Lear Centre in Huntingdon. And equally, there will be an element which might be done by teams. On-site assessment is very important so that we can understand that the learning that we have given is being embedded in the working environment. and assessors will come onto site, and this will be supported by an electronic portfolio, so we can gather the evidence to understand the journey that the apprentice is on, and that that they are advancing in the way we want them to. Delivery models will change between different employers. I'm quite a fan of the boot camp, where we put a lot of learning up front. Some people might want block release, and it will be very much designed once we know the demand in partnership with you, the employers, and there will be different delivery models across numerous different employers. So it's not a one size fits all option at all. It's a flexible option that we want to offer. Why City of Bristol College? Well, we are committed to working with Leah. We've enjoyed working with them, and I appreciate this wonderful award that I received in London. Thank you all for recognising the work of the college. We do have first-class engineering facilities here in the north of Bristol, which supports engineering and aeronautical engineering. We even have aeroplanes in the building, as Ross has been and seen. We will put a dedicated project team for this, which we will help coordinate the whole apprenticeship journey and work with you to provide the best solution for yourselves. I do understand that some of you will have existing relationships with other providers, and we're happy to work in partnership and share best practice where other providers already have a relationship with you. Finally, we touched on endpoint assessment, and what I just wanted to say to finish off is that there are 3 outcomes that an apprentice might receive from this: a pass, fail, or distinction. What I would like to think that by working together in a true partnership, that we can create the opportunity for everyone to get a distinction. Not everyone will get a distinction, but I think we have the responsibility to work together as employers, as Leah, as the college, to create that opportunity for everybody. And I thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Simon. Hopefully that has addressed some concerns around what it actually means, what it's going to feel like to put a member of staff through this training. And on that issue now, we're going to hear from Julie Harpley, who is from Sunbelt Rentals and who has real life experience of what it's like to engage with and support apprentices. So Julie's slides are there, and I will mute myself, and Julie, the floor is yours.
I'm trying to screen share. There we go. Can you see that okay? Fabulous. Okay, so my name is Julie Harpley. I'm the Learning and Development Specialist for Sunbelt Rentals. We're probably the UK's largest equipment rental company. We have almost 4,000 employees. And we've used apprentices for a very long period of time now as part of our employment strategy. We roughly take between 70 and 120 apprentices new starters every single year within 2 intakes. And we also use apprenticeships to upskill our existing staff members as well. The kind of apprenticeships we look at are really diverse because we are a very diverse business with lots of different specialist areas. So we do a lot of engineering, we also do logistics based, and we do some business related ones as well. So we can be looking at a whole different range of apprenticeships within 1 year. In terms of why we started taking apprenticeships seriously in the first place, obviously, I think a lot of industry now has skill shortages predicted for the future, and this was a very significant and proactive way to address those shortages and make sure that we're actually training our staff to fill those shortages for the future. So we're planning ahead, we're using our workforce planning strategy to actually make sure that we're putting skilled, talented staff into place for the future. We make sure that actually we're developing a pathway for our staff to make sure that they have those relevant qualifications, the full understanding of what skills they're going to need, to make sure that we've got high performing, motivated, qualified workforce in place for all the business areas that we need. And that supports our business growth as we move forward. We're also very keen at Sunbelt Rentals that we have very strong company cultures and values. And when we take apprentices, it means we're able to train through those values. So our staff members, when they graduate and when they join the workforce, it means they're already experienced in those values and are able to deliver as part of that culture that we have in place. We make sure that we offer all our apprentices a guaranteed role at the end of the apprenticeship. So when we're training them, we're making sure that we're developing our staff into a permanent role, and we're developing our workforce as part of that programme. We make sure that we actually look towards career progression for our apprentices as well, because we have got senior staff within the business who've come through the apprenticeship route. And it means that they've obviously worked right the way through different levels of the business. They've got a really strong understanding of how the company works, the values of the company, and then they can deliver that as they go through into management, senior management, and then continue the process of training apprentices as they move forward as well. So it's a really important process for us. Some of the benefits have been mentioned previously, but for us, it brings in a really wide range of new talent, lots of new ideas, and we find it's the attitude of our apprentices. They're really willing to learn, they're highly enthusiastic, they want to progress. So we've got staff joining the business who are really keen to actually get involved and to move forward within the company and to give back and make sure that actually they have those progression opportunities. In order to deliver on the skill shortages, the apprenticeships are making sure that we're actually delivering those staff who are trained and qualified within very relevant business areas that we will utilise for those skilled qualities later in the future. So we're developing our next generation of experts to make sure that we can continue to build on our business growth as we go. Apprenticeships also increase our diversity because we can encourage employees from a real wide range of backgrounds and make sure that we're actually bringing lots of fresh approaches into the business. I think there's generally an understanding that apprenticeships traditionally are for school leavers or college leavers, and that is still obviously the case. But it is now a possibility to offer an apprenticeship to any age range, whether it's somebody who wants to retrain from a career that they've perhaps had in the past, or they want to go in and try something completely new. So we try and encourage as much diversity as we possibly can within our programme to make sure that we are increasing the background and the attitude that we have from all our staff members. It's the opportunity as well for us to link our programmes together with our social impact agenda as well. So we make sure that we're partnering and supporting lots of different organisations within our early careers schemes, because that allows us again to increase our diversity, but also allows us to offer opportunities to lots of individuals and giving them an opportunity to thrive, succeed, and be part of our business in the long term. So it's really valuable for us. In terms of the new apprenticeship standard that we've been discussing, our lifting team are absolutely delighted that this has now been on board, because I think it's already been referenced that previously we've had to use apprenticeship standards for the lifting division that have not been a perfect fit. And now having this one available to us is a really positive move, because it allows us to actually offer a qualification and training that's very role specific for this area of our business, and it's going to work extremely well for us. In terms of how we're moving forward with that, we've actually already got a cohort that we've pre-planned and we've got in place about to start, who will be utilising this apprenticeship. So we're working with our existing training provider that actually already delivers a number of different apprenticeship standards for us, and they are going to deliver for us as soon as we are able to get this started. So we're hoping very imminently to have a cohort of apprentices joining this standard and moving forward. We have been really lucky with our apprenticeship scheme. We've had plenty of success in terms of we've got staff members within the business who've started either as part of our scheme and then they've progressed, or we've actually got many staff who've actually started their career as part of an apprenticeship elsewhere and then they've come to us. So it's not necessarily that every single apprentice that you train stays within the business, but it means you're adding those experts and those trained staff into the industry and perhaps getting them back from elsewhere. So it's been an extremely positive experience for us. We've had a number of successes with apprentices achieving awards, and it's been a very positive experience in terms of staff retention, which was mentioned earlier, because we're investing in our staff and we're looking towards their career progression, and that's actually really helped to make sure that staff are keen to stay with us, keen to continue to develop with us. One of our staff is Lewis Behi, who's on our call today, and he'll be speaking in a minute. And he's just won the Outstanding Apprentice Award at the Lear Awards. So he's going to join us to talk about his experience and why it's been such a positive experience for him. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julie. It's so exciting to hear that this is already that this is going to be hitting the tarmac straight away. For those of us that have been involved in it, that it makes all of the effort worthwhile, that it's actually come to life already. So thank you for that. And it was great to hear a big employer like Sunbelt and really driving the intake of the next generation. So thank you for that. So we're joined by Lewis Behi, Apprentice of the Year. No pressure, Lewis, but I'm going to ask you some questions in the hope that you sort of share honest, what's it actually feel like to be an apprentice? So welcome, thank you for joining. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I don't know how much arm twisting went into getting you here, but nonetheless, thank you for joining us. My first question to you, why did you choose an apprenticeship? How did you end up on an apprenticeship?
Ross, I've got an idea of the questions that have been asked, and I've done like a rolled up speech version that will possibly answer most of the questions, if that's okay, just to go ahead with that.
Perfect, go for it.
How did I find out about the apprenticeship route and why did I choose it? The saying that time really does fly by, in my opinion, is completely true. I find it hard to believe that just over 4 years ago, I left school and joined a college course for mechanical engineering and wondering what I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. I'd left school with 6 A's, 1 C and went straight into college. I had a love for engineering and thought the college course would enhance my knowledge on the subject. Up until this point, I had my heart set on becoming a mechanical engineer and expected to take the traditional route into employment that was drummed into us in school, go to college or university and get a degree. My teachers made it sound like it was the only option. During my college course, I was made aware more and more of apprenticeships, and over time, I thought about it more and more. I asked myself, did I need to go to college for this? Was it worth 3 or 4 years of debt when I could start earning now? And what were my other options? And after my first interview, I was offered a position at FMG Services, which were a part of A-Plant at the time, which are now Sunbelt, as an apprentice lifting engineer. So fast forward 4 years, I'm at the very end of my apprenticeship and I'll be working in a full-time role as a qualified lifting engineer with all the relevant qualifications and training certificates to go along with it. Taking an apprenticeship has had lots of benefits for me, both in work and a personal sense. The transition from school to work is huge, and quite often I think employers can forget this. Students coming straight from school aren't used to working 9 to 5 for a start, but also the idea of having freedom can be quite daunting, as I was so used to doing things the way I was shown by a teacher and really challenging anyone. However, in the working world, and particularly in my job, I now have the freedom to put forward my own ideas and can put my own stamp on how things are done. It definitely is exciting to be able to come to the table as a fresh set of eyes and think about how things can be done differently, or to see how you progress and develop. And to be fair, credit also goes to my manager, workshop manager, and my colleagues for giving me the confidence to do this. On a personal level, an apprenticeship has helped me to build my confidence. I was provided with just the right amount of support I needed for a first-time job. I think it's important for employers to be understanding and should put themselves in the apprentice's shoes. This is all new to them, new environment, different people, a whole new different way of life. Working is something we'll do for a very long time, especially as a young person with the life expectancy and retirement age increasing. So it's important to enjoy what you do and where you work, and having the right guidance and support can make a big difference. Like anything, those first days can really build your idea of an organisation. My apprenticeship has also been the building blocks to help me start my career and think about where I want to go next in the business. It's a great opportunity to explore. How can you know what you want if you haven't tried it before? So I think for a short period of time you're an apprentice, it gives you a much better understanding of whether the role, industry or sector is right for you. And luckily for me, the role I chose was right for me, and the opportunities that the future holds is really exciting. I'm still keen to learn, and one day I would like to reach a degree level qualification, but not through the traditional way. I want to do this my own way. When I look back on the past few years, yes, it's been tough at times, and I'm proud of the journey. And that's exactly what it is, a journey and not my destination. My next one is what have I learned in the workplace? Apprenticeships are becoming increasingly more common as an alternative to further education. Since choosing to do the lifting engineer apprentice, I've learned through knowledge building, I've learned through practicality, I've developed personally and intellectually. Despite not seeing out the remainder of the college course I initially enrolled in, I believe that my success will be down to my sheer determination, capability and willingness to learn and progress. I would like to share 3 things that I've learned since starting my role at Sunbelt. The first one being communication. Being an outgoing person has always allowed me to form relationships. I'd always been keen to get to know new people and be in a collaborative environment. With that said, I never made use of my social abilities professionally. I might have been the life and soul of the party, yet not having the right practical environment to grow in and put my social skills on hold. Since working for Sunbelt, my social abilities have developed with the correct practice. I now use my social energy and the work to liaise with customers and communicate as part of a collective team. The next thing I'd like to talk about is my confidence. My confidence and initiative there have grown immensely. I know that the answers I need lie within myself. Before working, I did not believe in my abilities, but work has opened my eyes to the many opportunities that I didn't even know existed previously. I now have a steady amount of responsibility and every chance of success. And the last thing is qualifications. At the end of an apprenticeship, you gain a nationally recognised qualification in the appropriate subject and at appropriate level. I would also like to mention that studying for the many layer qualifications is a big part of the apprenticeships that we strive for and my colleagues strive for as well. It's not just about the training and qualifications you gain from college or manufacturers training, but also learning from my colleagues has been just as valuable as any other course. The qualifications you learn on an apprenticeship are important. However, much of what you learn on an apprenticeship involves work-related and transferable skills as well as hands-on experience. An example of this, working in a business environment or on site as an apprentice means you're actually doing the job rather than doing classroom-based activities that are a simulation of the job and just learning the theory behind it. Because you're actively working, you'll learn about and practice procedures and protocols that surround the job. This includes standard operating procedures, health and safety, and other very important features of the job, such as confidentiality responsibilities. As an apprentice, you're also expected to act accordingly, and you'll develop skills in communication, timekeeping, and organisation. You'll also learn how to work with other people in the workplace, take on responsibility, and how to manage your finances when you've been paid. What have some of my biggest achievements been? There have been many achievements and success over the years of my apprenticeship, but if I had to pick out a few, then these would be the achievement of winning the Lee Award, being nominated and winning the award. This, in my opinion, is the apprentice equivalent of the Ballon d'Or. Those of you into football know it's a big deal. In the next couple of months, I will reach the end of my apprenticeship and will gain my level 3 qualification in mechanical engineering. Very much the same as the Lee Award, this will be achieved through my strong work ethic, gaining the qualification, as well as my other training and certificates I have gained through my time as an apprentice, which has helped with my professional development within the company and helped me to become a valuable member of my team. Without Sunbelt Rentals, I would never have had these opportunities which shaped me into the person I am today. And hopefully one day in the future, I'll be the one training the apprentice and I'll be the one giving them support and guidance. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Lewis, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. And you're right, it is the equivalent of the Ballon d'Or. You're right, I hadn't thought about it like that, but we will market it in the future. So thank you for that. That's free consultancy from Apprentice of the Year. Thank you very much. Look, that was a really powerful personal testimony of what an apprenticeship feels like. So thank you, Lewis. I have a feeling that we will be using your presentation a lot in our social media. So thank you for that. And thank you for Julie for your presentation too. We're going to move. We're going to move to and have a great rest of the day. It looks like you've got work to do. So we're going to move to a different part of the industry that hopefully this illustrates that, having heard from Sunbelt, we're going to now hear from Paul Davies over at William Hackett. They're also a committed employer who've used apprenticeships in the past. So Paul, I'll mute myself and the time is yours.
Thank you, Ross. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to participate. I'm going to break from my presentation for a moment just to commend both Julie and in particular Lewis on their presentations. Clearly, Julie and Sunbelt Rentals are a larger organisation than William Hackett. So the perspective that I show, the presentation I'll give, shall be very much from an SME perspective of why we choose apprenticeships. But I would just like to say that watching Lewis make his presentation reminded me so much of our own experience with James Hume, who was a former winner of the Apprentice of the Year award. Their characteristics are just so similar, it's uncanny. Anyway, William Hackett Lifting Products. I think perhaps to put the subject matter into a context, I'm just going to jump to a slide here. We would first like to sort of put ourselves into a context, and that is we're an SME. We supply a range of industrial chain and lifting products into a range of sectors on a global basis. Indeed, Sunbelt Rentals are one of our customers. So if I can just move to the next slide. Sorry. So to put this into to convey this into our recruitment strategy, the first thing is to recognise the importance of our human resource as a contributing factor in the delivery and success of our business. Without quality people, delivering our business would indeed be a challenge. We're pleased to say that we have a very good team of people at William Hackett, and James, as the exemplar we're going to use, is certainly one of those people. So our aim is always to recruit people who are industrious, empathetic to our own ethos and values, and are keen to maximise their potential. We're open-minded about the intellectual status of those applicants. We do recognise that some young people are late developers, hence our stated aim above, which is to, seek industrious people who are seeking to maximise their potential. Most importantly, probably, is that every new apprentice needs to demonstrate a commitment to his or her own personal development and to completing the transition from to a skilled and confident operative. Indeed, James has just demonstrated that himself. Lewis has just demonstrated that in his presentation. William Hackett is committed to being a good corporate citizen in its local community. As Julie said earlier, this is an important factor. We both engage with our local high school, provide them with opportunities for work experience, and we strive to offer at least one apprentice opportunity each year. Over the last 6 years, we've indeed achieved that goal and provided 6 apprenticeships. So, just very briefly, William Hackett is a family business in which every employee is a valued member of the team. Since 2014, we've developed from 29 employees to 43. That includes the directors. Apart from our field sales team and the finance director, who's based in an associate company office in the Midlands, every one of our staff lives within 20-mile radius of the company's premises. We have a very low turnover of employees. This is something we're very proud of. And as I said earlier, we encourage and support employees to pursue their career aspirations, develop their skills and capabilities, and to realize their potential. Within the organization, there currently exists 7 employees who have completed apprenticeships with previous employers. In addition to that, I should mention, however, that there are several people within the company who joined the company from leaving school and effectively served their time rather than undertaking a structured apprenticeship, but nonetheless, they probably followed the same path route. There are 3 employees who have completed their apprenticeship within the company. There are 2 current apprentices, and we're currently recruiting for another 2 apprentices to commence in 2022. As I said earlier, during the last 6 years, we've employed a total of 6 apprenticeships. Regrettably, 1 person did fail to complete the programme as she decided she wished to have a change in career choice, which we respected, and she moved on. So why choose the apprenticeship route? Well, from an employer's perspective, the first thing that's important to us is to align the person to the role. And by that I mean, we want people to embark upon a career which suits their personality, which suits their interest, which suits their lifelong aspiration. But when a young person in particular joins you, there's always the prospect of them having a change of attitude or a change of heart in what they're doing. So what we've always done at William Hack is to make sure that from the outset, nothing's written in stone. You come into the company, you can develop into one role, experience another role, and eventually you will find the role which suits you. For example, the 2 types of apprenticeship that we offer are generally office-based or shop floor-based. And with the office-based staff, the first 6 months of their apprenticeship, they spend a great deal of time on the shop floor, learning about what we do, getting their hands dirty. So, you know, they may well be coming in to train up as a salesperson, but they'll spend that first 6 to 12 months actually within the warehouse and the factory, learning about what it is the company really does. The second issue is probably the most obvious, and that's the economic factors. It has already been mentioned about grant support, the relatively low cost of training to take a person through and to transition them to a skilled worker. From an SME's perspective in particular, that's an important factor. The next aspect is employees' attitudes, expectation, commitment, and the team building. What we find, and it's not something which applies to everyone, but historically we found that a young person coming into joining the company as an apprentice, they come in with an attitude of, I'm starting from the ground. From here, I grew. I can only improve what I know and what I do, and this is my chosen career. So they have a positive attitude. Their expectation is to grow, to prosper. They generally demonstrate the right commitment to see them through the program. And because they're there from a starting point of 0, to coin an earlier phrase, the team building and relationship with older and experienced and qualified colleagues tends to be an easier process. They tend to be brought into and accepted within the team more easily than someone who may come in, for example, with a degree or a higher level qualification, who still has to start at the ground and learn what this company does and work with their colleagues and build their trust and respect. Finally, what we find is it does facilitate a strong and mutually rewarding employment relationship. As Lewis has demonstrated in his presentation, I sensed that he was excited about his employment relationship and that he was committed to it. And for an SME, attracting people who grow within the company, it does influence your succession planning. You think about their progression and you think about them being the next generation as the elder statesmen retire, who is going to take over. It's a higher risk to go recruiting externally when you need to replace somebody than it is to be able to work with what is homegrown. Better the animal you know, so to speak. From the employee's perspective, and this is these 4 points come essentially from a discussion with James, but I suspect, indeed I know, they've already been touched upon in previous presentations. There are the economic factors, such as avoiding potential debt, student loan accounts, and so forth by pursuing a higher further education program before starting your employment career. You are generating income, which transforms an individual's circumstances. There is financial support for their further education and gaining the qualifications and skills that they require for their career. There are those people who have a preference for and a bias towards their work-based learning rather than academic study. I know from personal experience as a grammar school dropout, so to speak, that once I started to work with my hands, things had a different meaning. And I went on to progress into professional and higher level qualifications. That wasn't something I would have perceived or conceived at that time. There's an opportunity for them to secure early employment in a preferred role or business sector, and then through hard work and applying themselves to accelerate their career progression. And there are other personal motives, such as working within the local community, working with family and friends, working with people that you know, and it helps to develop their confidence early on. So once a person, and perhaps there's not in my presentation, but I'll interject here and say, we essentially, or historically, have had 2 apprenticeship routes using our local provider, our local college, to support us. One is in business and administration, and the other is in warehousing and storage. And it's interesting, Ross and others, that from Leah's perspective, that a company such as William Hackett has historically developed their apprenticeships using local providers on subjects which were available to us locally. And then alongside that and beyond that, to encourage those employees to pursue their LEA qualifications, the existing LEA qualifications, which are clearly directly relative to what we do. So it will be an important consideration for William Hackett in the future as to how the LEA apprenticeship program aligns its existing qualifications with that apprenticeship program. But to come back to the slide now, beyond the apprenticeship program, we have encouraged our employees to seek, to undertake and secure LEA qualifications. As a company, we're very proud that 27% of our current workforce have an advanced, one or more advanced qualifications and are tech card holders. That includes all of the directors, save for the finance director, and all of the field sales team. There are currently 3 employees engaged in the foundation program. At least 1 or 2 of those will be expected to, when I say will be expected, it's not something that we demand of them. It's their choice, but unless they have a change of attitude their aspiration is to then pursue the advanced programs and qualifications. So to present a personal journey, as Lewis did, we have the fortunate experience of employing a young man called James Hume, who's now 23. He joined William Hackett as an apprentice production and warehouse operative in June 2014. His father had been with the company for over 18 years and is now employed as a quality, safety, health and environment manager. James's training and development in the company is summarized as follows. His pre-employment circumstances were that he went to the local high school. He left there in 2014 with 8 GCSEs, all at grades A and B. So he clearly was demonstrating an intellectual capacity to carry on and go into higher or further education. He chose that he wanted to leave at that point for the reasons that I set out earlier. And his journey beyond that is that in 2017, he achieved his advanced level apprenticeship in warehousing and storage, which was a program designed to create a senior warehouse person or team leader. He passed that with commendation. He then, in the same year, completed his Lear Foundation program. The following year, he passed his Lear General Lifting Equipment General Advanced program. He also passed his IS Managing Safely, and the following year, he passed the Lear Lifting Machines Manual Advanced program. So here was a person who came out of his apprenticeship studies, immersed himself into the Lear programs, and came out as a fully qualified tech card holder in a relatively short space of time. Alongside his academic studies there, he was fortunate, his efforts were recognized. He was fortunate in 2017 to be awarded the Student of Term, essentially that meant year award for the IT, Digital and Business Academy at Northumberland College. And he was fortunate to be a joint winner. There were 2 winners that year of Apprentice of the Year award in 2018. His career progression with us was that following his apprenticeship, which was 2014 to 17, in 2017, he was appointed as warehouse coordinator, which effectively was to give him that supervisory role and leadership role. His progression has been such that in his appraisal this year, he has been informed that with effect from next year, he will be appointed to the position of warehouse manager. So at the age of 23, James's progression has been from a fresh-faced school leaver embarking upon an apprenticeship over a period of 6-7 years. He will have progressed to becoming an important member of the management team within the company. So beyond that, what I'd like to draw is just a couple of conclusions, if I may, is that historically, as I said earlier, the apprenticeships in William Hackett were either production focused or business administration focused, with a follow-up of people being encouraged to pursue the Lear qualifications. Based upon what Lear have been doing, William Hackett will certainly be looking closely to see how the Lear program, through its delivery or service providers, can become a more effective and efficient way of our apprentices gaining the knowledge and skills that we would like them to have for our future or for the company's benefit as well as their own. So there are some issues to be discussed, probably through the questions and answers, Ross and others, but both Lewis and James clearly are great examples of people who have undertaken apprenticeships and have come out the other end with great career prospects ahead of them. I commend them both. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. I think what's really struck me there is that we have a firm of over 4,000 employees and a firm of 43 employees who have both testified essentially of the value of apprenticeships. And I hope that that's really come across. I'm grateful to you all for your time, the presenters. As we said at the start, question and answer, we're not going to have one now. Questions that are in the chat, I will address as we go forward. And likewise, if there are any other questions, if they are just emailed to me directly, it's on me to take forward this. But we hope that we shared that this is a really exciting new initiative. We hope that it's something that the industry will really take up on its own, but clearly as the association, we are here to support you, hold your hand, whatever is required. And those members who are not from England, we look forward to working with you that we can put together a solution that serves you in your marketplace. So thank you for your time, particularly to the presenters. Thank you to those who have attended, and we look forward to the next steps, and that is on me. So I look forward to getting in touch with you all. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.